Welcome to another episode of Bright Insights, the podcast that leads you to less stress and more success. Here's your host, Paul Bright.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Bright Insights. I am your host, Paul Bright. This is a mini episode. It is going to serve as a nice little break and explain to you how you can take a nice little break for yourself. Even in these crazy times, as of this recording during the COVID-19 shutdown, as a leader, it's going to seem like you can't get away from anybody. Either everyone is trying to get at you remotely, or everyone at home is still at home while you're at home trying to work remotely. And you just need to get a break. I'm sure it's in your head. You're like, I need a break, but how do I get one? In our last mini episode, we talked about how you can do some regulated breathing. And in this one, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite tools that helps clear my head. And I can do it 2 or 3 times a day. And it takes less than 10 minutes, and it can take as long as you want. And it is called a healthy walk. Yes, a healthy walk. I'm sure you've heard of it before. It's no real secret that a walk is good for you, good for your brain, good for your body. But I'm going to tell you what makes a healthy walk, because we as leaders, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, we think, oh, well, I walked to the parking lot. I walked from the parking lot. I got in a healthy walk. I got my Fitbit on. I can measure all my steps and get my exercise in. And I'm going to talk about why that's not the type of walk you want to do. Okay. So what makes this walk mind healthy? It's 3 things. Number 1, you're focused on the things that do not directly impact your life. So we're talking about work, home life, people you don't get along with, chores, to-do lists. This is your chance to focus on not focusing. You hear what I'm saying? Sometimes we go for these walks and we run through the list of everything we got to do in the day or who we had a fight with and all these things. And by the end of the walk, you're out of breath and still stressed. That is not the point of this walk. Number 1, you're going to focus on not focusing, if that makes any sense. Okay. So how do you do that? Well, as soon as you start your walk, check out your environment. All right. If you're outside, how many birds do you hear? How many different types of birds do you hear? How many different types of trees do you see? What types of cars do you see most of on the street? How many kids do you hear playing? You see what I mean? You're going to focus on things that have nothing to do with you and your life other than where you're at and just walking. The only thing you should keep in mind maybe is a timer of, okay, I've got 10 minutes, let's do this, or I've got 5 minutes, and where you're headed, or at least your turnaround spot. Other than that, what's going on around you that's interesting or even, I don't know, boring? As long as it takes your mind off of the rest of your life, then that makes it a mind healthy walk. Number 2 is you are not exercising. Like I mentioned before, you might want to be tempted to turn on your pedometer and count your steps and check it every once in a while. So did I get 500? That's not what we're doing here. Okay. We're not even really thinking about our breathing or swinging those elbows up or adding weights to our ankles just because it's convenient. This is not that type of exercise. This is more of an exercise, a stretch for your brain so that you can, again, focus on not focusing. And number 3 is you are by yourself. We tend to want to have companions with us. I know if you're a stay-at-home parent and you have a baby, it's tempting to put the baby in the stroller and go out. If you can avoid that by having somebody watch the baby or your young one for 10, 20 minutes, that would be great. If you can't, you can still do this in your living room as they sleep, as they nap. Again, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's there. Trust me, that time is there. It may seem like it's not there, but it's there. But the important thing is you do this by yourself. Don't call a friend and start chatting them up on their phone or anything like that. Don't get a walking buddy. This is for your mind, and you need to clear your mind, and you can do that by looking at all the things that are around you. Now, there is something I may recommend that you do bring along with you, and that is some music. Sometimes something that's upbeat and happy or whatever. Sometimes that's a good way to focus. to distract yourself is to listen to the lyrics or pay attention to the instruments. And I mean, even the sounds around you are kind of musical, but sometimes it's good to have just that one or two songs that are like, yeah, this always puts me in a good mood when I go for these walks, and I can focus on not focusing by focusing on the song. And here's one of my favorites. This is a friend of mine, Ivan Howard, and he's been in several bands. You may have heard of the Rosebuds, Gangs, De La Noche, but this is his big one here, is the Howard Ivins Band. And this song is called Back to the Life. And just listen to this as you think about scheduling your next walk so that you can go in with less stress and more success. Until next time.